Hey everybody, Dolst here. This video is kind of off the cuff. Well, it's totally off the cuff. There's not really much of any script. But I just kind of want to say some things about some stuff that's happened recently. And I feel like I'm already a little bit late in doing this. But anyway, obviously there have been a lot of people being exposed, being called out for their bad behavior, for taking advantage of people, for harassing, assaulting, whatever. And I have no doubt that some of these people being called out are innocent, and I have no doubt that some of these people, probably a lot of them, probably most of them, I'd hate to say that, but are guilty as hell. I say that as a preface to my personal story regarding a band out of Long Island known as Brand New. So, to say that I was a fan of Brand New, would have been an understatement. So, let's go back. Let's go back to the year 2000, the last year of the previous millennium. And I'd been a fan of an act called Adam and His Package. I'd seen him perform in Richmond. It's a guy by the name of Adam Gorin. I think he's a teacher now. It was him and his guitar and his Yamaha synthesizer. The synthesizer was the package. And seen him in Richmond. I liked his stuff, you know. So I went on a business trip at my employer at the time to Long Island. And that was my first time in Long Island. And just happened to be looking on the website and saw, oh, Adam and His Package is playing at a place called the Ethical Humanist Center. This would have been sometime around June 2000. So I was like, well, cool. Have some time. It was a weekend, and I talked to the team leader who was there. I was like, hey, I'm going to go check out this show. You know, he's like, sure, you know, have fun. So I went to the Ethical Humanist Center, and the first band that played was a band called Plimpton 32, and they were alright, you know, local pop punk band, whatever. And I don't remember if there was another band in between or not, but 2 or 3 bands in, the guys just started setting up their stuff, you know, dude's setting up his drums, and dude's got the bass going on, the drummer's like testing out his stuff, and he starts, you know, playing, and starts kind of playing this rhythm, and the bassist starts playing, and they just kind of got this rhythm going, I don't remember exactly how it went, and then the 2 guitarists, you know, started doing stuff and setting up their stuff, kind of like a sound check and a bit of the performance all at once. And there's this rhythm going, and then the guitarist is like sitting there, and he does something with a digital delay pedal. It's like, then he's like tweak a knob, go like really fast. He'd do something else with his guitar, and I was like, what the hell is this? What are they doing? What is this? This is kind of trippy. It's kind of cool, you know. And they did this for a little while, and then they do, and they kind of like step back from the mics. And of course, at this point, you know, this is you got to know who I'm talking about. This is Brand New, you know. And Jesse's like step back from the mic, and he's just like, "Tell all the English boys you meet," you know. And it's basically Jude Law on A Semester Abroad. And at that point, it was literally nothing but the chorus. So they played that, and then they went straight into the shower scene. And I was just like, whoa, this is... They really impressed me. And this was a thing that I told them after their set. I was like, guys, you guys are great. I'm easily amused and I'm easily entertained, but I'm not easily impressed. And they're one of like only 3 bands that I've ever said that to. And they were just kind of, oh, whoa, that's cool, yeah, okay. And I was like, you guys got any music or anything? They're like, yeah, we got a 4-song demo. I was like, well, cool, let me get that. And can you guys autograph it for me? They were like, somebody wants our autographs? Like, keep in mind, this is 2000, yeah. So I got this. The Brand New aficionados of you out there who may or may not still exist will probably recognize this as their first 4-song demo. And yes, autographed by all 4 of the guys. Back when nobody outside of Long Island knew who the hell they were. And I've covered up this phone number because that is no longer Brian's phone number. Hasn't been for many years, and I'd hate for some unsuspecting, innocent person to get called up with whatever. So the first time Brand New, and I was just blown away, and I got 2 copies of the 4-song demo, and because I knew my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, was gonna love it, and so went home, listened to it. I listened to the fuck out of that CD, and I gave her a copy. I was like, "Hey, Dexy, check this out. You're gonna love this." And it wasn't maybe a year later, not even a year. It wasn't very long. They started touring, and they came to Virginia. The first time they came to Virginia was in Norfolk, and it was a bar called Kogan's. It's a little hole in the wall. I don't even know if it's still there anymore. And they showed, we got there early. We were sitting there in the car, like playing with our Dragon Ball Z cards. Long story. And we saw them show up. We were like, "Hey guys, we're gonna help you carry your stuff in." We ended up not even like paying a cover to get in. As a musician now myself, I'm like, I don't know if that was a dick move or not, but we helped them carry their gear in, so the people at the venue just thought we were there with them. And we were literally the only people in the place that knew the words to their songs. And we brought the other 4-song demo because, like a dumbass, when I was still in New York, I had never got it autographed. So I was like, "Hey, can you guys autograph this too?" So they did. So we actually have 2 copies of this 4-song demo, and it originally came in a little plastic bag, so I kept that. I just stuck it in a jewel case to keep it safe, and the paper that was in there with it is in there now as liner notes. Hold any thoughts you have about what might happen to this. Anyway, they played Kogan's. It was great. We loved their set. Everybody else there seemed like when a band you haven't heard of, there's a small crowd. I don't know, but I was like, yeah, we know who these guys are, and you don't. But even at their first show that I saw them in Long Island, it was technically like the 6th show they played, but it was the first show that I saw them at, and I was like, these guys are gonna be fucking huge. I told them that. I told them, you guys are gonna be huge. And I'm like, oh no, of course not. Yeah. Now let me back up because I'm telling shit out of order here. So you may or may not be familiar with this a musician by the name of Dan Deacon. He used to be in a ska band called Channel 59. So one of the other things that happened back at that first show in Long Island was Channel 59 was a 9-piece ska band. They were supposed to play that night. And 6 of the members bailed on them at the last minute. So it was literally only 3 of them, like I forget if he was the trumpet player or what, but he was also the singer, and it was Dan Deacon. 2 other members, and they were just trying to throw something together. I think he had a tuba. I think it might have been a tuba. I don't remember now. But I was like, "Hey, I got a dumb question. Are you guys a ska band?" He's like, "Well, normally we're a 9-piece ska band, but 6 of our members bailed." And I was like, "If there's anything I can do to help, because I've always been an attention whore. I was like, I want to get up on stage, and have some shenanigans." And he was like, "I'll think of something. I'll come up with something for you." I was like, "Okay, cool." Right before the set, they're about to go on. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here if you need me to do anything." He said, "Okay, sit on this chair right here on stage and remain completely motionless." It's like, okay. So don't do anything. I'm like, okay. So they're sitting there playing. And it's like an acoustic guitar and some drums and whatever, and he's singing these goofy ass songs, and I'm just sitting there like, just literally just like staring out over the crowd. Now I'm blinking. This is how legends and urban legends and shit like that start. I'm blinking like any normal person would. But as I'm staring at the pipes on the ceiling, everything starts to just kind of fade out, and it's kind of got this tunnel vision. I can sort of see in my peripheral vision there's people like doing shit like that, trying to get my attention. I'm just staring at the ceiling. And the songs actually get so funny, I'm like trying not to fucking laugh, so I kind of wrap my leg around the chair leg and tried to make myself uncomfortable, cause a little bit of pain so I wouldn't end up busting out laughing in the middle of the song. And I managed to do it. And once their set was over, everybody applauded, okay, cool, good set. I jumped out of the chair, I was like, ah! And the audience all jumped. And then they all applauded for me. I'm like, oh, this is what this feels like to be, loved and adored by the audience. I tell that part of the story because, and after that night, to any members of Channel 59 who may have remembered, but to Brand New, from that day forward, I was known to them as Staring Guy. When I was out in the crowd later, guys were staring, oh my god, that was awesome, yeah. How'd you do that without blinking? I was like, that's why I brought up the point that I blinked. I was like, I did blink, but anyway, that's The main reason why I bring this up at all is that that's how the guys in Brand New knew me. They knew me as Staring Guy. I don't know if they even remembered the name Dolst. I just think, oh, Staring Guy. Because anytime they'd come through town. So, back to the year 2000, year 2001, stuff like that. We've got the second show in Virginia that I remember them playing at was Mac Rock, which is a festival up there in Harrisonburg. And they played there, and a couple people seem to know the words of their songs. The next time they came, every time they came to Virginia, there was a few more people singing along. There's, 5 other people in the crowd who knew their stuff. It's like, hey, you know who these guys are. It's cool, And then 20 people and 50 people, and then they played Alley Cats in Richmond, and everybody there was, singing along to all their stuff and knew their stuff. And I want to say like the second or third show they played might have actually been in Virginia Beach. It's funny, because when they played their first show at Kogan's, they kept saying, Virginia Beach! I'm like, guys, this is Norfolk. This isn't Virginia Beach. But anyway, they played Virginia Beach, and I remember being in line to get into the venue wearing, like, a skull cap on the back of my head. And somebody taps me on the shoulder from behind. I look, and it's Jesse. And he's like, hey, how's it going, Staring Guy? Recognize me from behind. I used to just be like, hey, yeah, Jesse Lacey knew who I was. But we're going to get to my attitude about that soon enough. So anyway, most people know who Brand New is now. They know how big they are now. Around 2001, Your Favorite Weapon came out, and the first time I heard the full version of Jude Law and a Semester Abroad, I was like, oh my god, what? This isn't just like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I was like, whatever poison's in this, but like, what the fuck? This isn't... And then when I got to the chorus, I'm like, oh, okay, you completed the song, basically. Deja Entendu came out of all their albums. I mean, it was... I would say Daisy was a close second to it, but Deja Entendu was always still my fallback, my go-to. I thought Sick Transit Gloria, Glory Fades, was my favorite song of theirs. In light of recent events, a lot of the lyrics to a lot of the songs take on whole new meanings. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, this is not to toot my own... In fact, for years, I would tell these stories about how I knew Brand New and how I met them and how I met Jesse and how I met Vin. I mean, I met all 4 of the guys that would hang out with them, talk to them, and I even talked to them about, doing remixes of their songs. That shit never happened. And they had no reason to indulge me. They were polite about it, but until it finally got to the point of like, yeah, okay, talk to our label guy, talk to the manager. Like, okay, that should have realized right then. And I'll admit, I was kind of a cringy, awkward dumbass, around them, dudes, I want to do remix of your stuff. Yeah, in retrospect, we all have, things like that, I guess. But the reason I bring all this up is because, for me personally, I have a history. However small it is in the grand scheme of things, I have a history with Brand New. I would always talk to the guys and hang out with them before and after their sets. And they knew me. And, Deja Entendu came out, and then sometime a little while after, because I went through a point in my life when I was not able to really go to a lot of shows. Dexy and I were, strapped for cash, and we didn't really... It was about a 5 or more year period where we just didn't go to any shows. So Brand New came to town several more times, and never caught them. By the time I saw a Brand New show again... after the, and keep in mind, I saw Taking Back Sunday and Brand New play at what is now Strange Matter. It was called 929 at the time. It had been Twisters before that, long story. And we've played on a stage that is in roughly the same location as that stage, where I saw Jesse get up on stage with Taking Back Sunday singing part of, There's No I in Team, which is him and Adam and John Nolan's, back and forth about, the two. Anyway, if you know the history, you know the history. If you don't, I'm not going to go into it right now. But that was mind-blowing to see that. I remember seeing Jesse pointing out somebody. This was at the Norva. This might have been the actual, the last show that we saw them where we actually talked to them and hung out with them at all. The band Isley opened up for him, and some asshole in the crowd chucked the beer bottle at the girls, and I was like, I'd never seen this happen before either. I was just like, you know what? I bet Jesse's just going to come out of the woodwork and do something about this. I had no reason to think that or whatever. And sure enough, Jesse comes out and he's like pointing down at the crowd. That guy right there, he did. Because one thing I will say that I've seen throughout the history of whatever, you know, Brand New's played is that Jesse doesn't like people in the crowd getting hurt. You know, even people who do bad things aren't entirely monsters, but they're getting ahead of myself. So I can go on and on about, you know, all the times we talked to him and the stuff and whatever. But by the time we saw him again after God and the Devil and after Daisy had come out, God, it was like 2013, 2014. Like, Brand New, the information comes out, okay, they're going to be playing at the National. Boom, tickets are sold out in like 5 minutes. I mean, it's just, you're not getting a ticket. I was lucky enough to call up the radio station when they were having a contest, and it was caller number 10 or something. I forget what the details are now, but I got tickets. I was like, we're going to see Brand New, woo! You know? So we went and saw him, and I don't know if we would have been able to talk to him and hang out with him after the show, because by that point they were already becoming a little more reclusive and a little more private and whatever. And unfortunately, Dexy got like violently ill and was like, you know, projectile vomiting, so we had to go outside. And I was like, she felt bad. I was like, you know, let's take care of you first. Let's make sure you're okay. We can see them anytime. And no, I wouldn't change that at all. I would still go outside. Well, especially in light of recent events. But we didn't see them again until last year, I think. I want to say we were up in D.C. But over the years, they have become very private, very reclusive, very inaccessible. And as they've gotten bigger and more critically acclaimed and more loved or whatever, they, like any big band, you know, you wait outside at the venue and they're going to get on their tour bus and drive away. And certainly have the right to do that. But they were my favorite band from like 2004 or 5 up until, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Because if you haven't been keeping up, maybe you don't know that a woman came out and said that back when Jesse was 24 and she was 15, he was soliciting her for nude photos and lewd acts via Skype or whatever. And it would be one thing, and I like to make my position on this clear. When one stranger to me, so someone who's a stranger to me, accuses another stranger of something, I don't automatically believe one stranger or the other. My position is I don't know what the truth is. My only agenda is to the truth. I don't know what the truth is. When a stranger accuses someone I know of something, I try to be as objective as possible. But if I happen to know the person really, really well, and I'll be like, okay, well, you know, is it true? Is it not? Whatever. I might have a little more weight when we're there. If it's somebody I know really well who I think is a scumbag, I'll be like, okay, well, you know, I'm not surprised. If somebody who I think is a saint, it's like, I'm surprised. If it's somebody I don't know very well, and Jesse was somebody I didn't know very well, knew him somewhat, you know, 15 years ago. When it's a stranger saying something about someone who might as well be a stranger, what comes out afterward is part of how I form my opinion. And I never have a definitive opinion. I never try to say, this person is definitely guilty, or this person is definitely innocent, or whatever. The accuser is a liar, the accuser is a saint, whatever. But what happens next is usually a good indicator of, not even a good indicator. I'm sorry, I'm stalling for time because I'm looking up something here. If Jesse had come out and said, this is bullshit, I did not solicit nude photos from a minor. Keep in mind, a 24-year-old and a 15-year-old. Okay. Now, my dad was 29 when he married my mom. She was 16. But he married her. He didn't take her in a back room and do lewd things with her and then leave her. He married her, and they were married for 50-plus years. Okay. When I met Dexy, I was 21 and she was 17. You want to call that creepy? That's great. We're still together, and we're married. So you judge me or my family or however you want, but I can tell you for goddamn sure, when I was 24, I was not telling impressionable 15-year-old girls who would be looking up to me like I was a big fucking rock star. I mean, I'm not a rock star. I just play one on the internet. That's the accusation. And if Jesse had come out and said, hey, I didn't do that. Whoa, no. Jesse's response: I am sorry for how I have hurt people, mistreated them, lied and cheated. Dependent and addictive relationship with sex. I'm reading this off of Rolling Stone. Let's see if I can find the actual full thing. I apologize for the hurt I have caused. Let me see. In an effort to address recent events and the public conversation currently happening, wrote his publicist, I feel it is important to make a clear and personal statement. The actions of my past have caused pain and harm to a number of people, and I want to say that I am absolutely sorry. Not, I'm sorry I solicited nudes from a minor, or not, while I have done some bad shit and cheated on my wife, I didn't solicit nudes from a minor. What Jesse said basically was a big, fat, fucking roll of nothing. Other than, I did some bad shit, and I'm sorry I got caught. And that's been the most disappointing thing for me out of this whole thing, is that Jesse has turned out to be somebody who definitely has a problem and is predatory. And it's like I said, if it was just he cheated on his wife, he cheated on every girlfriend he ever had, okay, that's a jerk thing to do. But is it evil? We can debate that. We can debate whether it's evil. Being a 24-year-old, handsome, admired singer who, frontman of a band who is well-known and who is admired by a 15-year-old and saying, I can use this to get that 15-year-old girl to do what I want. I don't think there's a fucking debate. That's evil. Now, am I saying I know for a fact that Jesse did that? No, I don't know. He might have a lawyer saying, he might be like, I want to deny all this shit. And his lawyer might be like, no, we shouldn't be talking about it. Da, da, da. How likely is that? Not bloody fucking likely, to be perfectly honest. Not bloody fucking likely. As someone who did like and respect all the members of Brand New, and, I would be lying if I said that their music didn't at least influence mine a little bit. As someone who would want to defend them if I thought that Jesse was innocent, I do not personally believe that Jesse is innocent. I think not just cheating on his wife, I think he was behaving as a predator and using his influence and his admiration or whatever to victimize young girls. And I haven't been keeping tabs, but I've heard more accusations and more allegations came out. Because that's the other thing about when somebody gets hit with one accusation, there's one accusation made public and they issue a blanket statement, sorry for all the people I've hurt. To me, that means, oh shit, they know. And now that one's come out, the fucking floodgates are open, I better go into damage control mode. Or his publicist might have been, Jesse, we're going to have to go into damage control mode. I don't know who wrote the apology. But it was not, in my opinion, the response of an innocent man. I just want to get this out there because I once said that I was never going to sell this. Never going to sell this. I could probably get a decent amount of money for it on eBay. But I'm not going to do it because it's got sentimental value to me. It's like I recently said on another social media platform, which one is not important. I am fucking done with Brand New. No offense to Mr. Accardi, no offense to Mr. Tierney, no offense to Mr. Lane. I like to think you guys didn't know what he was up to. I'd like to think that even if you guys knew that he was out and carousing and boys will be boys and all that happy horse shit, that you didn't realize he was preying on fucking children. I do hope you realize that. I mean, I do hope that you didn't know that he was doing that. If you did, then fuck you. I hope you didn't, so that fuck you doesn't have to apply to you. But as someone who once considered himself your biggest fucking fan, staring guy, you can forget that name. You can forget anything. You know, this goes to Jesse. He will never see this. He will never hear these words. I understand that. But fuck you too. Fuck you especially, Jesse. You've let down one of your oldest, longest-term fans, and you've let down a lot of people. And more importantly than let down, you have hurt people. And I really hope that everything you said about wanting to get help and get therapy and all that, I hope that's true. And I hope you do want to be a better person. But the thing about becoming a better person and trying to atone for being basically a fucking predator is that if you want to actually make good on it, do something to help your victims. I don't fucking know what. I don't know. Support a fucking battered women's shelter or something. I don't know. It's not my place to tell you what to do. All I can tell you is my place. It's everyone's place to tell you not to, fuck children. Whether virtually or literally. So, I guess that's about all I have to say. This is the last time I will ever tell the story about how I met Brand New, or about how we hung out with them. This is the last time I'll talk about Jesse Lacey in any even remotely positive light, because, there were some fun times, no doubt, but Brand New is no longer my favorite band. I cannot listen to Jesse's voice without just being sick. So, if you sat through all this, great, I guess. This is more of a catharsis for me than anything. I expect the view count to remain in single digits. That's, great. I'm not going to talk about my band or my music or anything here. I just wanted to get this statement out there. If anybody gives a shit. Guess that's it. Whatever shenanigans you get up to as a person, and I'm not saying this to Jesse or anybody else, this is just a general statement. Whatever shenanigans you get up to with other consenting adults, shit happens, hearts get broken, there's disappointment, there's yelling, there's fighting, there's love, there's making up, there's whatever. But when you have the power to manipulate someone whose brain is physically not yet fucking developed to the point that they can really make good life decisions, and you take your power and your influence and you do that, that makes you, I don't want to say less than human, but that's what it feels like. Unfortunately, there are way too many humans who do that. I personally am philosophically opposed to, say, the death penalty. I'm certainly opposed to torture, mutilation, shit like that. But the reason we have the rule of law is to keep people like me from taking matters into our own hands. And no, I'm not threatening anyone, and this is not even remotely close to a threat or a call to action, anything like that. I'm just telling you how I feel, how this situation makes me feel. Because aside from my heart just being broken for the victims of people like this, the people who have given up hopes and dreams and sacrificed things for something that wasn't there. Especially younger people who are much more easily swayed. The other part of me is angry. I've been, better about controlling my anger in the last couple of years than I have been at a lot of other points in my life, but it's sad. It makes me sad. It makes me pissed off. It kind of makes me sick. So I'm not going to belabor the point anymore. I was going to try to keep this under a half hour. I'm already at 31 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and upload it to YouTube. If anybody wants to contribute anything or say anything that I missed or I said wrong or anything about whatever, comments are what they are. But I guess that's it. So, stupid internet catchphrase for the last 20 plus years, surf wisely. Because Jesse sure as shit didn't.